Robin Lord Taylor. Next up, please welcome David Mazouz. Please welcome Cameron Monaghan. And last but certainly not least, the legendary Sean Pertwee. I mean, you're all legendary, but give it up for your cast of Gotham, everybody. Yay. Well, first question, how have you been enjoying Belfast? Start with you, Robin.
I'm fantastic. It's true what they say, the Guinness is better here.
See?
We all learned that last night. Yeah, fabulous. And the people, just amazing. You all are so kind and lovely. Thank you so much for welcoming all of us. It's just been fabulous. Yeah.
Yes, they know how to party here. You sure do. Yep. How about you, David?
Robin stole my answer. Guinness is fantastic. Thank you for supplying that. And thanks for having us. It's been an amazing time.
Yeah, it's been amazing so far. I'll give a shout out to, I had a whiskey, I think it was called Rivervale, that was from nearby, and that was very exciting. We're just going to talk about drinks, I guess, for the rest of it.
Hello, hot mic.
Excuse me.
Guinness is absolutely fantastic, as is Bushmills. No, we had a lovely time. It was amazing. I was here about sort of 15 years ago, and Belfast is a truly beautiful city, and it's changed so much for the better. And you lot are lovely, so thank you for having us.
Give yourselves a round of applause. I'll tell you what, some of the nicest people ever we've met here in Belfast. Cameron, I'll start with you, and then you guys can answer as well, but I haven't had a chance to ask you this yet. How did you get into the show Gotham? What was the casting process? What brought you to the show?
I actually was called up with an offer to be in the first season just for a single episode guest star. And I read it, and I read the last scene, and I was like, wait, is this character supposed to be who I think it is? And then immediately called up my team and was like, I need to do this. This is incredible. So I was only thinking I was going to do one episode, and then I kept coming back, which was really nice and an absolute pleasure and a privilege.
We're so glad you did. How about you, David? How did you get cast into Gotham?
I auditioned, and then auditioned again, and then auditioned again, and then auditioned again, and then auditioned like 6 more times. And then eventually I got a call that I would be Bruce Wayne. So it was a great day.
And so, yeah, I auditioned as well. But I've told this story before, but really quick, like I didn't know what I was auditioning for. They kept that a secret, and they didn't give us the script or anything, didn't even tell us the name of the project. And they wrote like just a fake scene for us to do that embodied the Penguin. I didn't know it was the Penguin at the time. And so, yeah, I went in and I did it once, and the casting director was like, I'm not gonna give you any notes, that was fantastic, so we'll be in touch. And then a couple weeks later, they were like, we're bringing you to Los Angeles. And I went in and I auditioned again for the executive producers and the creators of the show, Bruno Heller and Danny Cannon. And, it was very nerve-wracking, but it went very well. And then they kept me in LA for a full week. So I was like, pacing the hotel room, just pulling my hair out. And it was the night before I had to fly back to New York, and I got the call, and they were like, you got it. And I immediately started crying, freaking out, and at that point, my room service arrived, and this woman walks in with my sandwich, and I'm like, sobbing, and I was like, I had to tell her, I was like, I just got a really big show, it's like a break of my life, and she was like, oh, that's so amazing. Here's the bill, can you please sign this so I can go? And yeah, it was incredible, it was such a natural thing, and then, weeks later we were on set, and Danny said to me, he was like, it was always you. He was like, it was always you. It was that one audition, that very first one, where the casting director was like, I don't want to do anything. And he was like, we knew at that moment that you were the one for this part. And it was wild. It was like 5 minutes of my life changed my entire life. So just a magical, amazing experience. Yeah.
About you, Sean?
No, it's the same thing. We were given these sort of generic pieces, and mine was a guy that goes into a pub and punches someone and breaks someone's throat, which I thought was strange. And I went to see Danny Cannon and Bruno Heller down in Los Angeles, and they said, yeah, that's great. Can you just imagine there's a 12-year-old boy in the back of a car outside? And I said, what is this we're auditioning for? Because it was written with real sort of alacrity and understanding of being an East Ender. And they said, it's to play Alfred Pennyworth. And I went, because I'd never heard an iteration of an Alfred Pennyworth in that, well, one of being the age that I was, which was about sort of 49, 50. So it was, what was so clever about their casting process was, had I known that it was for Alfred Pennyworth, I would have absolutely blown it, because I would have played it as a dusty old Alfred Pennyworth. But what they saw in all of us is something that we didn't know that we actually had. None of us knew that we were in this show and entering into the Batman canon. So it was, it was an honor, and also terrifying when I first got the role. But I've never been more thankful to be in a show like that and to play one of the only Brits in the superhero universe, really. So thank you for having me.
That deserves a round of applause. There you go. We are in the UK. But I mean, my gosh, those are huge shoes to fill, loafers, if you will, to play Alfred. So we'll start with you, and then we'll go down the line here. I'd imagine it would be a lot of pressure to fill those shoes, and to sort of then, how do you find a balance to play it the way that you think people want to see it, or to put your own spin on it? That's got to be very tedious.
Well, no, I mean, the thing was, it was trial and error. We were in a world that we'd never seen these characters at this particular age before. So the first most important question that we asked ourselves, Bruno Heller and Danny Cannon, myself and David, was, why on earth is this sort of East Ender working for the richest man in the universe and the richest man in the world? And we discovered, for obvious reasons, it's not just to be a valet or to be a butler, but to be a protectorate. So I was lucky enough to train with the SAS on another show. So we decided he was there to be a physical presence and a protectorate to young Master Bruce, which made sort of sense. And then from there we developed the physicality and the violence and taught him how to fight. So really, Alfred is Batman.
Sorry, what was the question?
So just big shoes to fill. When you got the role, how did you kind of make the character your own, but still be respectful to the legacy?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard with something like the Joker because everyone is so familiar with every performance that came before, and each one was so iconic. I, of course, was extremely familiar, as I think most people were, with Heath's performance. I grew up idolizing him and what he did with that role, so of course that was always going to be in the back of my mind. And Jack Nicholson as well, and Mark Hamill's voice performance were all hugely inspirational for me. However, there was no way that I was going to be, first of all, capable of straight up emulating that, but also if I was taking or cribbing something from that directly, everyone would immediately know that and notice it. So instead, I tried to get inspiration from the comics as much as I could. I read literally every comic I could get my hands on. And then looked to older films as well, like Clockwork Orange or Silence of the Lambs or something like that. But more than anything, I just I tried to figure out what was weird or disturbing or scary for myself, and just tried to put that out there as much as I could. If it made me uncomfortable, I hoped it would make other people uncomfortable too.
I don't really remember, to be honest, like making this character that much. I just a lot of people ask me like, is it a lot of pressure to be Bruce Wayne? And no, like not at all. I remember like in like season 3, I remember kind of like coming to consciousness as like a 15, 16-year-old and being like, oh shit, wait, like maybe I should have been scared to do this role at some point. But like I definitely wasn't at the beginning just because I was so young. And the writing, like I feel like I had, the executive producers like Bruno Heller, Danny Cannon, like in my corner the whole time. I felt like if they were happy, there's nothing I needed to worry about. And also I think I had a very specific idea of who the character was from the audition sides, like Sean said. My audition scene was a a boy in therapy talking about his dead brother, and he's talking about like the last happy memory they had together when they were all going on a camping trip with his family, and he climbed a tree with his brother, and an eagle landed on the tree right next to them. There's this really beautiful monologue, but you can tell that this kid was very intelligent, very intense, very deep, and also very sensitive, and yeah, I think I just kind of did an interpretation of that scene and just kind of stuck with that. And you know, similar to Cameron, also got my hands on every comic book I read every comic book I could get my hands on, and yeah. But I didn't even really think about like, oh, I'm gonna take this from this comic book and this. I kind of just tried to absorb. It wasn't even a conscious thing. I just absorbed the feeling of Bruce Wayne that I knew from Christian Bale, and that because that's kind of the Batman it's like that's who Batman was to me at the time, and absorbed the comic books, and yeah, just kind of let the creative team direct and guide me.
Yeah, similar to what David said, is that I mean, for me, I just leaned into the beautiful writing, the way that Bruno crafted this character. And also I was really fortunate because I was, you know, only the third live action Penguin. I grew up watching Burgess Meredith and of course Danny DeVito. I've seen Batman Returns like a trillion times. You know, just amazing, amazing performances. But, you know, it was very clear that they were taking, you know, it was a reinterpretation. And so I just relied on the words that he wrote for me. And I think also really the scariest part of the whole thing, you know, of course there's so much pressure, and everybody here, you know, we all grew up with Batman. I mean, it just is part of our shared culture. And so, you know, it's like very daunting. But again, like really the scariest thing is just like having you know, suddenly going from being completely unknown to being, you know, in the spotlight, you know, on social media, like in your regular life. That was the most terrifying part. But I think also, as I said before, when Danny said to me, he was like, it was always you. I think he could also see that I was freaking out. And it was just when he said that, I was like, okay, like I got this. Like this, you know, this is mine. I earned this. And so I can do this. And it gave me the confidence that I needed to sort of get through that first season. So yeah.
Validation, sure.
Yes, exactly. The
And my God,
validation was so important.
Performances by all of them, just amazing. Round of applause for, honestly, just incredible cast. But I've had the pleasure of being around you guys quite a bit, at least some of you, and you seem to get along great, but was it an instant connection? I'll start with you, Sean. When you guys all got together, was it kind of like, okay, we're buds, or was it, yeah?
No, it's an utter sort of long-term love affair, I have to say, with Corey, sadly not here, with all of the cast, the entire cast, Donna Logue, everyone, but especially with David, who I work with day in, day out, really, and I was missing my son terribly, who is back in England, and David became very much a sort of surrogate son, and it was just a real honor and a privilege to actually witness this beautiful man grow up. And it was a very easy sort of emotional pool to draw from, missing my own son, being replaced by this beautiful boy. So yeah, no, it was. Robin, of course, and I are dear friends, and we see each other all the time. And Corey, still to this day, you know. Actually, thank you lot for making it happen, because I get to see them because of you. Yes. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's like a reunion, these Comic Cons. It's very cool. How about you, Cameron?
Yeah, I mean, I never really got along with him, and I still don't really. So you know, I just try to keep my distance as much as possible. And yeah, well, I mean,
It's hard for us right now.
Rude, mean. Yeah, just awful cast, awful people, awful people. No, it was a strange thing because so much of my stuff was kind of separate from a lot of the cast. And I think it wasn't until like season 3 or 4 that I had a scene with Sean. It was around that time that I had a scene with David. I had one episode that I really got to play around and have a lot of fun with Robin, and that was really great. But it's strange, like because so much of the stuff we were kind of like in our own little worlds as these villains doing our own stuff. I think I became closer or better friends and got to know a lot of the cast better after the show finished, which is strange. But they're all really talented people who I admired watching their work, and lovely human beings outside of it as well. But don't let them know that.
It's between us.
Yeah, I think when the show first started, a lot of us. I had moved with my mom from Los Angeles to New York, and I think a lot of Sean had moved from London. Robin was from New York, but a lot of us were coming from other places, and our reason for being there was the show. And there was a lot of us. I think we had 14 series regulars or something like that at the beginning. It was a good little crowd, and so we kind of just became a family right away because we. Like I said, we all were, a part of this thing that felt bigger than all of us combined. We were all there, like in this city to do that thing, and I just felt an instant kind of familial, I don't know, kind of feeling with everyone. And it's still what's amazing is that it's amazing on this trip also because I don't like Sean said. I mean, we spent basically every single day together for 5 years. I mean, almost. And we got so close and had such an incredible relationship. And then I don't think I've seen you for since before COVID, right? This trip. So it's been like 3 years, and it's like zero time has passed. It's an incredible feeling. And I guess that's just a testament to the amount and the quality of time that we spent together. And it's a really special thing that, it's awesome to see. It's awesome to kind of just know, 3 years down the line, that familial feeling that we had while the show was going on was kind of something more than we're all just in the same place doing the same thing. It extends deeper than that.
As we know, the show is so intense, it would have been virtually impossible to get through 5 seasons if there had been any sort of acrimony between the cast members. Like, the fact that we were all a family and we all bonded immediately carried us all the way through the 100 episodes. And just a little sidebar, I was really fortunate in that I had a little small arc on The Walking Dead, and I actually shot an episode of that before Gotham happened. And I remember thinking I was really lucky because I had this scene with Andrew Lincoln and Melissa McBride, and they were both so kind. And I had been on other shows as a guest star where the series regulars don't even look at you or give you any sort of time of day. And so then I go into The Walking Dead, and they were talking to me and being talking through the scene with me, taking time, asking me questions. And I remember walking away from that being God, if I get a show, I promise if I'm gonna be a series regular that I will treat everyone who comes through the way that Andrew and Melissa treated me. And then it's also a testament to the amazing casting directors, Sherry Thomas and Sharon Bialy, who cast The Walking Dead, but also cast Gotham. And they're so brilliant because they also know that is such an integral part of a success of a show, is bringing people together who will work with mutual respect, not just for the writing and for the episodes and for the show itself, but mutual respect for each other as actors, as artists, as creative people. And they know if we do that, then the show automatically is elevated. And I think you can see that in The Walking Dead, and then I think you can definitely see that in Gotham as well. So yeah.
For sure. Chemistry, for sure. Now, everyone say hi to my friend Dave over here. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
What's up, Dave? Dave has the microphone. So, if you have a question for anyone on the panel, any or all, please raise your hand, and we would love for you guys to get a chance to ask a question to our amazing Gotham panel. We've got one here from this lovely lady. Hiya.
Hiya. My question's for all of you. How did you go through preparing for your roles, for Cameron especially, because you played the Joker, who is kind of this psychotic, crazy character? What kind of things did you do to prepare for all of your roles, and how did you go about that? Was it a long process? Was it a thing that you could do overnight?
Yeah, I mean, it was a constant process. What was kind of strange about, the show is like a character like that. Normally, like if you're doing it for a film, you prepare for it and then you're done with it and you can leave it be. But we had to live with these characters for 5 years. And that meant a constant mindfulness of what are we going to do with it going forward? What is the trajectory? What is the idea? What's the plan? And full credit to the writers' room over there. Everyone was really lovely of kind of communicating what they wanted to do and what the idea of the character was supposed to be. And to that point, the entire crew was extremely supportive, from props to makeup to wardrobe. Everyone, lighting, everyone really helped create an environment where you're able to understand your character through the means of how they're presented. And had we not had such a fantastic technical team, I don't know if there would have been able to be a performance. So I don't think that there's any straight line of preparation as much as it was a lot of conversations. There was a lot of conversations of what we wanted to do and how we were wanting to present it, basically.
Yeah, similar to what Cameron said, it was like the physical aspects of the character, like for me, the hair, the nose, the costume, the shoes. I was lucky in that, like, I think generally I took, well, except for you, like you had some amazing like prosthetic work as well. But like, I had like every day like about an hour and a half of makeup and and wardrobe and hair and all of that. And so every day I could sort of like go through this process of physically changing into Oswald. And then once you put on that suit and then, once it all sort of comes together, it's like, oh, I'm here, like he's here. You know what I mean? It was really, I never had that experience before. So that was incredibly helpful. Yeah.
What was fun for me to discover was how Bruce changed. Like I said, I don't think I did a lot of conscious preparation when the show started for the reasons I talked about before. But what I did as the show evolved, Bruce evolved a lot. And I think every season was like a very different stage in his life. I think he started out as a very vulnerable, scared child who happened to have rich parents. And then by the end, he was, on his way to becoming Batman, which is two very different things. And so, and that was beautifully guided by the writing. I kind of obviously knew where he was going, and any time that the writers would give me something to play around with, I would think about kind of like how far do I want to advance Bruce now? And that was a really fun kind of thing to play around with, episode by episode.
Yeah, ditto. No, it was.
Thank you so much.
It was a question of like no acting required, really. As Robin sort of said, the sets were so extraordinary, and our crew was so beautiful. They were very much part of our family as well, and you did get this excitement. It's like walking into a cathedral when you walked onto the set, and you were there and working with David, watching this young man grow before your eyes. I didn't really need to prepare. The thing was just to be sort of present in his sphere, really, to try and guide him. So it was just to watch and learn, really, from David.
Thank you. Great question. We've got another one right here.
Hi, this is not about Gotham, but can you understand our accents? Can you do impression of our accents?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Wait, what was the guy that we ran into last night? What did he say? It was something like.
I can remember.
You remember it? So you gotta say this.
There was a group of lads who were, a few drinks deep, and they were walking down the street, and they recognized Sean, and they're like, "Hey, you're on television, aren't you? You're on television." And Sean was like, "Ah, yeah." I said, "What for? What for? What for?
What for? So all night long we were being like, what for?
That was so good. Round of applause. Very impressive. David, can you do it too?
What for?
Bravo.
So I must have heard this wrong, but somebody, and I apologize if you're in the audience, just because I must have heard you wrong, but I swear I asked how to spell your name, and I heard the letter U, and I was like, oh? He's like, no. Letter O. I just didn't. So I don't know. That's the part I didn't understand. But for the most part, you guys are totally understandable.
For the most part.
What letter is that? I don't even.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
What did you write?
I didn't have to write his name.
Okay, good.
I was just asking how to spell it.
Good save. Good save. Great question. Thank you so much. And again, very impressive, Cameron. We have another question right here.
If yous could be any other character in the show, whose would you be and why?
Well, we've been asked this one before, and I have to say, how could you be? They played so beautifully and sublimely by the rest of these characters. How could you be anyone else? You know?
Good answer.
Yeah, it's a hard one to ask because I couldn't imagine anyone doing a better job than these gentlemen in these characters. I certainly couldn't do it. So it's kind of like a non-answer to your question, but it's just there really isn't an answer because again, like who could be the Riddler except for Corey Michael Smith in this world, you know? So yeah, for example. So yeah.
But if we're not talking about acting, if we're talking about like living as other characters, I definitely want to be the Penguin. I want to just like that's such a boss person.
That limp sucks though. You don't want the limp. Let me tell you. Yeah.
I think every little kid wants to be Batman, and I did. So of course, like, what kid doesn't want to be Batman? You lucky son of a...
I did. I wanted to.
Thank you. Great question. We've got time for one more back here.
Does anyone have a favourite monologue that they can remember reciting that sticks in their mind that they want to do now?
Oh my goodness.
To say right now? To perform?
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Sean has actually prepared a piece from Hamlet.
Thank you so much. This may take some time. No, I can't remember anymore.
What am I? Let's.
I can't remember.
'Tis torture, not mercy. Heaven is here where Juliet lives, and every cat and dog and little mouse, every unworthy thing lives here in heaven and may look upon her. But Romeo may not. Flies may do this, but I from this must fly. They are free men, but I am banished. And sayest thou yet, how hast thou the heart, being a divine, a ghostly confessor, a sin absolver, and my friend profess to mangle me with that word banished?
Yes. Yes. Take that.
What's that, Eminem?
What's that? Yeah. That's from 8 Mile.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Thank
You
you.
guys.
We have time for, I think, 2 more questions. Dave?
Cameron, what was it like bouncing from 2 anthology shows, well, not anthology, but 2 shows that lasted over 10 years for Shameless and over, I don't know, 6 for Gotham?
Yeah, it was. I just feel very lucky. I feel very lucky and very privileged to be able to be with characters for that long. That's a opportunity most actors don't get to have. And there was a good chunk of time when I was bouncing back and forth between the Shameless and Gotham sets, and I would literally finish up on the Shameless set and get on a plane and then arrive and immediately go into wardrobe fittings and stuff for Gotham. And that was a pretty amazing thing. Gotham got 5 great years, and I think that everybody was very lucky and very happy that we were able to do that 5th season. I know I was. So yeah, it's always appreciated to be able to do something for so long.
Thank you. Another question here. Oh.
My question's for Cameron. If you could be like any version of Joker or Jerome again, what would you do differently?
Sean, I'm going to let you answer this one for me.
What was the question?
I have no idea. Sorry, say it one more time.
Sorry, is that better?
Yes, much better, thank you.
If you could be Joker or Jerome or Jeremiah again, what would you do differently?
You're really scary when you do that, I have to say. The Riddler outfit. I don't know. I don't know, honestly. I know that's not an answer. I really don't know. But I appreciate the question regardless.
And he's terrified. We have to get to this next question here because we have a Riddler cosplay. Fantastic.
Thank you. I was wondering, there was a rumor going around a while ago that there might be a Gotham season 6. How would you guys feel about that if there was? What would you say?
Yeah.
I would say yes, absolutely, on one condition, that all the same actors come back. Because like I couldn't imagine, again, like doing it with anyone else except these people. I mean, it would just be so strange. So yeah, that would be the one condition, but yeah, tweet Warner Brothers, let them know. Who knows, maybe they'll listen.
I wouldn't watch it if they changed the actors.
Brilliant.
Good for you. Power of social media. Well, I think we're done with the questions. We've got to let them get back to the autograph and photo area. But final question from me, guys. You've been so amazing with all the fans. I want to say thank you. We're so proud of them. But what is next after this Comic-Con? Do you have any projects you're working on or things you're looking forward to? We'll go to Sean first.
No, well, I just finished a Neil Marshall film called Duchess, and also the 4th season of You, and a film just came out the other day called The Invitation, and and that's it really. I'm doing MasterChef, The Professionals.
Yes.
Sausage 3 ways.
I'm just planning on traveling a little bit, really. I've never been to Ireland or anywhere near here before, so I'm just going to drive around and just see the beautiful country for a little bit, and just explore and see that, and who knows from there.
Cameron doesn't know it, but I'll be in his trunk. He'll discover me about 3 days in because I'll be begging for food. I have one more year in school, which I start next week. So that's kind of just wrapping up that part of my life. I did a couple of projects, indie movies that should be coming out in the next year-ish or so, this year. So I'm excited about those, and I'm working on some other things, some non-acting things in entertainment, which I'm excited to see where those go.
Yes, and thank you for applauding school and education over here. That was hilarious.
Yeah, plug it.
Yes.
Let's go get educated.
Learning.
I nothing completely nailed down. There's some things out there that I'm not going to talk about just because like I don't want to jinx it. And I also there's nothing where I've learned this lesson the hard way where it's like, oh my God, this thing is happening, and then tell everyone, and then it doesn't happen, and I look like a jerk. So you know, stuff is out there, but you know, I don't know. I feel like I'm at this point where like the best thing that Gotham did for me was sort of take that sort of fear of, you know, that panicky, like what's gonna happen? What am I gonna do? What's the next thing? Like now I'm just feel like so like sort of creatively open and just sort of like letting it come in and not stressing out, and it's a magical feeling. And so I have Gotham to thank for that, but I also have you guys to thank for that. Because of you, like we are able to like be in that space and also just sort of celebrate the work and the art in this, you know, amazing world of comic books and fantasy. It's just wonderful. So again, thank you all so much for this. You bring us all together. You bring us all together. We get to meet you. It's just so lovely. So thank you again for coming out this weekend. It's really been an amazing weekend.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
thank you.
Beautiful way to end it. Give yourselves a round of applause, and please show some love for the cast of Gotham. We are so thrilled you guys could be here with us. Robin, David, Cameron, and Sean are headed over to the autograph and photo area so you can get your chance to meet them in person right here in Belfast. Everybody get those hands up. Hashtag Gotham Selfie, starring you guys. Thank you so much. There's more to come here.